The realtor wouldn't look at the mirror, and that should have been enough. But we signed anyway. It dominated the living room wall, floor to ceiling, an antique thing with a gilded frame carved in patterns that seemed to shift when the light changed. The glass itself was old, slightly warped, the kind that made reflections look liquid and uncertain. Beautiful, in the way old things often are. The kind of piece you'd expect in a museum, not bolted to the wall of a suburban rental, going for half what it should. Previous tenants left it, the realtor said, her eyes on her clipboard, on the hardwood, on anything but the mirror. Anchored into the studs, would have cost more to remove than it was worth. Sarah ran her fingers along the frame's carved edge. It's stunning. We'll keep it. I saw the realtor's jaw tighten. Just for a second. But she recovered, produced the keys, and we signed that afternoon. We needed this. A fresh start after Sarah lost her job, after months in that cramped apartment with our 6-year-old son asking when we'd have a backyard again. This house had 3 bedrooms and rent we could actually pay. It felt like luck. We moved in on Saturday. Ethan claimed the smaller bedroom immediately, the one overlooking the yard. Sarah and I spent the day unpacking, arranging furniture, trying to make empty rooms feel like home. The mirror watched us work. I caught myself glancing at it more than I should have, checking angles, making sure the couch looked right from that perspective. The glass held my attention in a way I couldn't name. "You keep staring at that thing," Sarah said, catching me mid-glance. "Just making sure it doesn't look cluttered." But that wasn't true. Something about the mirror pulled at me, made me want to look twice. The first week was normal. Breakfast routines, Ethan's kindergarten drop-offs, dinners at our new table. We were settling in, finding our rhythm. Then, Ethan mentioned the woman. "The lady in the mirror says our house is very old," he announced over chicken nuggets on Thursday. Sarah and I exchanged that parent glance, the one that says our kid just said something adorable and nonsensical. "What lady, buddy?" I asked. "In the big mirror. She talks to me when I walk by." "That's your reflection, sweetheart," Sarah said. "Mirrors show us ourselves." Ethan shook his head with absolute certainty. "No, she's different. She has longer hair, way down past her shoulders, and she stands really, really still, like she's not breathing." We smiled, dismissed it. Kids his age lived half in imagination, half in reality. But that night, after Ethan was asleep, I stood in front of the mirror in the darkness. The house was too quiet, the kind of silence that makes you hear your own pulse. I studied my reflection. Tired eyes, stubble, wrinkled shirt. Everything normal. Except my reflection held eye contact a fraction too long when I turned away. I laughed at myself. Stress, new house, Ethan's story in my head. The footsteps started 3 nights later. I woke at 2:47 a.m. to someone walking in the living room, slow, deliberate steps across hardwood. I thought immediately of Ethan sleepwalking, but his door was closed. I could hear him snoring softly. The living room was empty. Moonlight streamed through windows, casting long shadows. The mirror reflected it all back, silvery and still. Nothing moved. But I'd heard footsteps. "Old house," Sarah mumbled when I returned to bed. "They settle." I wanted to believe her, but 3 more times that week I woke to footsteps in the living room, and each time I found nothing, just the mirror, reflecting an empty room with that warped glass that made everything look slightly removed from itself. Ethan's conversations continued. He'd stop in doorways, stare at the mirror, appear to listen. When we asked what the lady said, he'd shrug. "Just stuff about the house, about the other families." "What other families?" Sarah's voice was carefully light. "The ones before us. She says they liked the mirror too. She says everyone likes it at first." That night, we sat on the couch, staring at the mirror in lamplight. "We should cover it," Sarah said. "With what? It's enormous." "Something, anything." But we didn't. Some unspoken agreement stopped us. Or maybe it was reluctance to admit we were disturbed enough by an object to need to hide it. I started researching. Property records showed the house had changed hands 7 times in 20 years. Each tenancy lasted only months. 4 months, 6 months, 3 months, never more than 8. The pattern was there if you looked. I tried contacting previous tenants, but found nothing. They'd moved in, moved out, and disappeared from easy reach. Behind a loose baseboard in the master closet, I found the first Polaroid. A family of 3 in our living room. A couple in their 30s, a blonde girl, maybe 8. They're smiling, but wrong. The mother's smile didn't reach her eyes. The father's hand on the girl's shoulder looked too tight. Behind them was the mirror. In its reflection, the family was there, but the girl in the reflection wasn't looking at the camera. Her mouth was open, her small hands pressed flat against the glass from the inside. I showed Sarah. She stared at it, her face draining of color. "Where?" "Hidden, behind the baseboard." "Why would someone hide this?" Neither of us had an answer. That night, the breathing started. I woke to someone breathing in our bedroom. Not Sarah beside me, but something else, slower, more deliberate. The kind of breathing you do when you're trying to be quiet but can't manage silence. It was coming from the living room, from the mirror's direction. I got up. My heart hammered. Sarah didn't wake. I crept down the hallway, avoiding the boards that creaked. The breathing stopped. In the mirror, I saw my reflection standing in the darkened room. And behind me, barely visible in the warped glass, was a shape. Child-sized, perfectly still. I spun around. The room was empty. When I looked back, the shape was gone. Just me, wide-eyed and pale, staring back from antique glass. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Morning made it feel absurd. A shadow, a trick of streetlight, fear creating phantoms. But when I tried to tell Sarah, I could see concern in her eyes. Not about the mirror, about me. "We should take a weekend away," she said. "This has been stressful." But before we could plan anything, everything changed. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I came home from work early, some excuse about a migraine I half believed myself. The house was quiet. Sarah was at a job interview. Ethan should have been at aftercare. But he was standing in the living room, facing the mirror, perfectly still. "Ethan? Buddy, what are you doing home?" He didn't answer, didn't move.
I walked closer. "Ethan?" When he finally turned, his movements were slow, uncertain, like someone remembering how to use a body. "Dad," he said. His voice was flat. "She wants to show me something." "Who does?" "The lady. She says it's important. She says if I look long enough, I'll see where the other children went." My skin went cold. "What other children?" "The ones from before. She says they're still here, just on the other side." I grabbed his shoulders, turned him away from the mirror. "That's enough. No more mirror lady, no more stories." But Ethan looked at me with eyes that seemed too old, too knowing. "She's not a story, Dad. She's always been here." That evening, Sarah and I decided we'd break the lease, lose the deposit, and leave. Whatever was happening, supernatural or just our combined stress manifesting, we couldn't stay. We'd pack in the morning, tell Ethan it was an adventure, start over somewhere else. We didn't get the chance. I woke at 3:17 a.m. to Sarah shaking me, her voice high and breaking. "Ethan's not in his room." We searched in a panic. His bedroom, bathroom, closets, kitchen, every door locked from inside, every window latched, the security chain still engaged on the front door. But our son was gone from his locked bedroom. Sarah called 911. I searched again, tearing through rooms. The police arrived fast, 2 officers, then 4, then more. They asked questions that felt like accusations. Had we heard anything? Had Ethan been upset? Any custody issues? No, no, no. The house was sealed. Our son had vanished from his locked bedroom. One officer, a woman with gray hair and kind eyes, pulled me aside. "If he's not here and didn't leave, we need to consider everything. Any spaces you don't know about? Crawl spaces?" I was about to answer when I saw it. In the living room mirror, over her shoulder, was Ethan, standing in the living room, right where the officer stood, but alone in the reflection. No police, no Sarah, just Ethan, his face pale, his eyes wide and frightened, staring out at me from inside the glass. I pushed past her and ran to the mirror, pressed my palms flat against the surface. "Ethan!" The glass was cold, not cool, like winter breath, like something that had never known warmth. The living room was empty. Just officers, just Sarah staring at me. I looked back at the mirror. Ethan's reflection raised one small hand, pressed it against the glass from his side. For one impossible second, I felt pressure against my palm, the faint outline of small fingers. Then it was gone. "Sir, I need you to sit down," the officer said, reaching for me. I jerked away. "He's in there! He's in the goddamn mirror!" The officers exchanged glances. Sarah started crying, and I realized how I sounded, how insane. But I'd seen him. I'd felt him. The next hours blurred. More police, an Amber Alert, photographs, measurements, professional searches. They found nothing. No hidden rooms, no passages, no explanation. Sarah and I sat on the couch as sunrise came, numb, hollow. The mirror reflected the chaos, morning light turning it to gold. And then just before noon, Ethan walked out of the hallway. Same pajamas, bare feet, hair mussed from sleep. He looked at the room full of police with confusion and said, "Why is everyone here?" Sarah screamed with relief and ran to him. I was right behind, touching his face, his hair, making sure he was real. The officers had questions. Where had he been? Had someone taken him? Was he hurt? Ethan looked at them with wide eyes. I was sleeping. In my room. I just woke up. Impossible. His room had been searched a dozen times. Eventually, the police left, filing reports with visible confusion. The official explanation settled on sleepwalking and panicked parents somehow missing a child during a frantic search. Absurd, but the only explanation that fit a rational world. We should have been relieved. But something was wrong with Ethan. The changes were subtle. He was quieter, didn't eat much at dinner, went to bed without his usual requests for water or stories. It was the small things that accumulated. The way he stood in front of the mirror for long stretches, barely breathing. The way his eyes lingered too long before he responded to his name. The way he'd tilt his head at odd angles, like seeing from a perspective that didn't fit. The way he repeated things we'd said hours later, word for word, exact inflection, as if processing them on delay. The way he didn't blink as often as he should. Sarah noticed too. I'd catch her watching him with an expression I couldn't read, love mixed with something else, fear maybe, uncertainty. He's been through trauma, she whispered one night. Kids process differently. He'll be okay. But she didn't sound convinced. I found the second Polaroid the next day, wedged behind the washing machine. Another family, different couple, a boy around 7, standing in the living room, the mirror behind them. In the reflection, the boy wasn't looking at the camera. He faced away, small hands pressed against the glass from inside. Just like the first photo. That night I found the note, under a loose floorboard in Ethan's closet, a torn page, the handwriting shaky and desperate. Do not give it your name. Do not let it learn who you are. Once it knows, it keeps the ones it wants.
No signature, no date. Just those 3 sentences in frantic script. I showed Sarah. Her hand shook holding it. What does that mean? I don't know. But Ethan told the mirror his name. He talked to it for days. We stared at each other in the dim bedroom light, and I saw my own terror reflected in her face. That night, I woke to find Ethan standing at the foot of our bed, perfectly still, face expressionless in darkness, just standing, staring. Ethan? My voice cracked. Buddy, what's wrong? Silence stretched, Sarah's breathing beside me, the house settling. Finally, the lady says you can't leave. She says the mirror needs us. What lady? The one who's been here the whole time. His voice was flat, mechanical. She says we're home now. She says we'll stay forever, just like the others. Ethan, you're scaring me. Don't be scared. He tilted his head, that wrong angle. I'm still me, mostly. Sarah woke, gasped when she saw him standing there. Baby, what are you? I'm saying goodbye, Ethan said. His movements were stiff as he turned toward us. The real me is still in there, but he's getting smaller. She says it doesn't hurt. She says it's like falling asleep. Who says that? Sarah's voice rose. Ethan, who are you talking to? But he was already walking away, his footsteps too measured, too careful, like someone learning to walk. We didn't sleep. We held each other, listening to the house breathe. In the morning, we made the call. We packed what we could carry in an hour, clothes, documents, essentials. We told Ethan we were going on a trip, ignoring the way he watched with those 2 still eyes,
The way he asked no questions, showed no excitement. The realtor was baffled by our sudden departure. We signed forms, forfeited everything, and drove away on a bright Tuesday morning. I watched the house recede in the rear-view mirror. Even from the street, I could see the living room window, the golden gleam of the antique frame catching sunlight. We're staying with Sarah's parents now, 4 states away. Ethan seems better in some ways. He plays, he talks, he laughs at cartoons. But there are moments when his eyes go distant, when he stands before any reflective surface, windows, bathroom mirrors, the dark television screen, and just stares, when he says things that sound borrowed, rehearsed. Last week I found him in the bathroom at 2 a.m., standing before the mirror in darkness. "Ethan," I whispered, "are you okay?" He looked at me. For just a second, something flickered across his face. Recognition, fear, my real son trapped somewhere behind those eyes. Then gone. "I'm fine, Dad. Just looking." This morning I searched online. The house listing is back up. Different realtor, same photos, same rooms, same floors. Same mirror dominating the living room wall, antique frame gleaming with intricate patterns. The rent is even lower now, the kind of deal the struggling family couldn't resist. I wonder if they'll see it. The way reflections linger, the way the house watches and waits. I wonder if they have children. I look at my son, the boy who came back from wherever he had been, and try to convince myself everything is fine, that the strangeness will fade, that he'll grow back into himself. But late at night, I hear him talking in his room, having conversations with someone I can't see, and if I listen close, I hear 2 voices. One is Ethan's, the other is older, patient, teaching him, perhaps, or replacing him word by word. Yesterday, Sarah's mother asked to take a family photo. Something for the mantle, she said. Something happy after everything we'd been through. We gathered in the living room here, the 3 of us. Sarah's mother raised her phone, told us to smile. The photo developed on her screen. She showed it to us, beaming. We looked normal, smiling. A family. But I stared at it until my vision blurred. In the photograph, Ethan wasn't looking at the camera. He was turned slightly to the left, his gaze fixed on something outside the frame, his small mouth open, just a fraction, his hand raised, fingers spread, as if pressing against glass that wasn't there. Sarah saw it too. I watched her face go pale. "Must be a trick of the timing. Kids never stay still. Let me take another." But we didn't take another, because I understand now. We didn't escape the mirror. We didn't leave it behind. Whatever came back with us is still connected, still linked to that glass, that house, that thing that watches and waits and remembers. Some nights I think about going back, breaking in, destroying the mirror, ending the cycle. But I'm afraid of what I'd see in that warped liquid glass, afraid of what might be looking back. So instead, I watch my son. I document the wrong moments, the times when whoever is wearing his face forgets to pretend. And I wait, because eventually another family will move in, another couple, another child, another set of innocent victims drawn by low rent and fresh starts. The mirror will be there, waiting, just as it always has been, just as it always will be.